Which pen should I go for my next sketch? Hello everyone, this is Andrea, and today I'm gonna share with you my top 5 favorite fountain pens that I always bring with me when I'm drawing around. So this video was highly requested actually by you guys, because many of you have asked me what pen I use for my sketches and which fountain pens do I prefer. So I thought that was quite good to put together a video where I select the top 5 fountain pens that I personally like to use and to share with you my thoughts and my views on them. And just remind you that this video is not sponsored by any of these brands, and these are my honest view about these pens because I've been using them for a long time. So hopefully this video will be helpful for you guys if you want to decide to buy a new fountain pen or expand your current collection. And also I've released a full extended version of this video where I talk about these pens in more details, and I included also some references and some sketches I've done before. So you can check my Patreon page in the link here. And now, let's have a look in more details into these pens. Number 5. Duke 551 Fude Pen. This interesting fountain pen from Duke is a manufacturer from China, Shanghai. It has a very particular nib, which is called Fude nib. It's basically a bended piece of nib at the tip. It's bended here, if you can see. And the reason they've done this is because you can change the thickness of your line based on the angle that you are holding this pen. So if I'm holding it almost from the top, you can see it can release almost like a fine to medium nib. And then if you are lowering the angle, now I'm almost holding it at 75 degrees maybe, you can have a broad nib, almost like this. And if you lower again, you can go broader and broader. As you can see here, this is a very thick line. You can release this very dark stroke. So this is very interesting because you can produce many line variation with a single fountain pen. And you can give a lot of characters to your drawings by alternating the angle of your strokes and producing very expressive strokes like this. Anyway, I really enjoy this pen so far, although I'm not using this as much as the other pens, because I'm doing this as an experiment when I want to have some fun and explore more tools. So far I haven't done any final work with this pen, but I definitely want to do and want to use this pen more in the future. Overall, I feel the pen quality of the Fude 551 Fude pen is very good. The shape resembles a little bit of the Pelican series, like the M800 and M1000, but the internal mechanism is totally different. This one has a standard piston converter here. It holds relatively standard amount of ink, so you can carry on for a while. This is a pretty big pen, so the only caveat is that I have a very relatively small hand, so if you have a hand even smaller than mine, probably you will find this pen too big. But I like big pens, and even though it is slightly heavier, I find it's very pleasant to draw with this. And as long as I don't draw with this pen for hours, my hand should be alright. I found this pen on Amazon actually 3 or 4 years ago. It was costing around 35 to 38 pounds, so it's not too bad for such a good quality pen. So it was a really nice discovery, and I feel it's a very good pen if you want to try around and experiment with new techniques. Number 4. Traveler's Company Brass Pen. This is a very interesting one, and as you can see from the size of this, you can immediately imagine why I love this pen. You can literally bring this anywhere you want, and you can unfold this pen easily and post on the back and becomes like a full-size fountain pen. It's made with brass And that is one of my favorite parts as well, because I love brass items. I've got a lot of paper clips with brass, and it fits quite well when I'm showing my pens together with my drawings. It has a steel nib, and the size of this is fine, which I found a little bit too thin, but I'm using this in combination with other fountain pens that I have in my case. So for example, if I've got multiple pens here in my case, I can easily post this back and put it in one of the extra slot here, and you can carry one extra pen with you. That's what I really love about these ideas of folding fountain pens. I haven't seen many of them around. I know Kaweco had one with a similar shape, but this one is much smaller, and you can hold in your hand, in your pocket, anywhere you want to go. You can have this with you and it won't give you any problems. But let's try to write something with this pen. So the pen nib is very thin, so you have to press a little bit in order to have a strong stroke. I find this very nice when you want to put some details, or if you want to have very thin hatch to your text, for example. So when I'm doing the hatch in the middle of the text, I normally flip my nib, but in this case I don't need to do that, as the nib is already very thin. And the balance as well, when you post the cap, and in this case you need to do that in order to achieve a reasonable length to hold the pen, it's very balanced. The only disadvantage of this fountain pen is that it only works with small cartridges, which is reasonable considering the small size. And I don't think this is much a problem as long as I carry some cartridges with me, although I cannot fill with all the ink colors that I have, as they are coming with bottles. So overall, I'm really pleased about these products, and I always have this in my pocket in case I need it. Number 3. Hahnemuehle Fine Note Series Fountain Pen. Hahnemuehle is known by producing a very good quality of paper, and recently they launched a series of fountain pens with different price range, and this one is one of the top class fountain pen series that they produced. So this is a not inexpensive pen. It costs around 300 to 400 pounds. It comes with a gold nib and a metal stainless steel hatched body here. So I really like this texture because you can hold it very firmly. And also you have the logo on the grip of the pen, which I really like. And it comes with a traditional piston converter here with a fair amount of ink. And I feel this is slightly longer than the standard piston converter, and this is produced by Hahnemuehle as well. And the thing I like about this pen is that it releases a lot of ink. It's a very wet nib. It is a medium nib, and if you do a series of curved lines, it's very expressive as well because it has a lot of springing, and as a fountain pen is very consistent as well. Overall, I find this a very pleasant fountain pens to write and to draw, and of course it's a little bit pricey, and it's a new series in the Hahnemuehle fountain pen collection, but I think so far they have done a very good job. And I like how this pen looks in my photographs and videos that I take with my works. So this is one of my favorite pens to carry around when I'm drawing. You probably have seen a lot of pictures with this pen in my Instagram profile because I really like to take this with me. The nib part of this fountain pen is the best part because it releases the ink incredibly fast and it's very consistent as well. So I find drawing with this is a very smooth experience. Number 2, Lamy Al-Star M nib. This is by far the oldest and the most used pen that I have. I remember I saw somebody drawing with this many years ago, and having this very iconic shape and very big as well fountain pens feels really cool. And I remember I had to have one at that moment. So I went to buy one and I tried it, and I fell immediately in love. So this is the fountain pens that I grew up with. It has a steel nib, in this case it's a medium nib, with a mix of plastic and stainless steel body. I've bought different versions of the Lamy in the past. For example, I've got a Lamy Safari as well, which instead of the metal body here, it has a plastic body with the same features like the Al-Star here. And all the mechanics are the same. So you can either choose to go with the Al-Star, which is slightly more expensive. This is costing around £25, I guess. And the Safari, the plastic version, costs around £17 at the time. So it's not a big difference. But yeah, if you want to go for the budget version, you can easily go for the plastic one. But the reason I like this is because it is not expensive. So you can really buy it at the beginning of your drawing career or your hobby and try it. Because even if you break it, if you lose it, you can always buy another one. You don't feel like bankrupt after buying this. The Lamy Al-Star comes with a stainless steel body with a stainless steel metal nib. In this case, it's an M nib. It has a plastic feeder and the grip as well, it is in plastic. And it has this little window that allows you to see the ink level inside the pen. And if you open it, inside it has a traditional piston converter from Lamy. And actually, when I bought it, it has a standard cartridge. But I bought at the end a piston converter, because I think it's much easier to use. It's more eco-friendly because you don't waste materials in cartridges, and you can change ink quite easily. And as I said, this is the pen I grew up with. I did all the early studies of ink pen and fountain pens with this, and it's incredibly smooth to write. It has a steel nib, so it is not that flexible, so it maintains the same thickness easily throughout your lines. You cannot flex that much like the Hahnemuehle one, but it is a very good fountain pen if you want to start drawing with ink. You can see it is very consistent. It's a pleasure to write, and I like the grip because it follows the natural grip of your fingers, at least for me, and your hands won't get tired when you're using it for a long time. And another thing I love about this pen is that everything is interchangeable and it's very easy to disassemble. For example, this piece of the body you can mount with another Lamy fountain pens, and the nib as well. It comes out quite easily if you just press and pull it from the feeder. So it means that everything can be interchangeable. It can be replaced if you break accidentally something. So it's very flexible as a fountain pen, especially at the beginning if you are still not confident about cleaning your fountain pen. If you break something, you can easily replace it with something else. And this is a very popular fountain pen, so you can find this pretty much everywhere in the world. And number 1. Montblanc Meisterstuck 146. I remember I first started to use this pen 4 years ago when I saw somebody using this pen when he was drawing on an Instagram, and I fell in love on this beautiful nib. As you can see here, it has a very iconic double-colored golden nib. Once I tried this golden nib, I felt immediately that this nib is very different from any other steel nib I'd used, because it doesn't really scratch the surface of the paper in any case. and it's so smooth that you almost don't feel like you're writing on the paper. And the ink flow is so steady and it's so consistent. This is a medium nib and it's not a flexible nib, but the gold nib flexes a little bit more than the usual steel nib. So it has a little bit of springing. And writing with the back of the nib as well, it's so pleasant and it doesn't scratch the paper too much. So I really loved the nib, but also this iconic cigar shape fits perfectly in my hand. I don't have a very big hand, so I tried the Montblanc 149, which I also have, but that one feels too big on my hand. And also the height of the nib is a bit too much, but this one has the perfect nib height, so you can see what is going behind and around. And the body is made of resin. It's called pressure resin. I like also the smooth edges. There is no harsh transition in this body, and I liked how you can go up and down on the body to find your perfect grip without having any major steps that is in your way. So this Montblanc comes with a classic piston reservoir. That means you have to suck the ink up to the chamber inside via this rotating piston. So there will be a little piston going up and down inside, and this is a very good mechanism because it actually holds a lot of ink, which is good when you have to travel around because you don't need to refill every time. The only disadvantage of this fountain pen is that this is a very expensive pen. If you buy new, you will probably end up paying around £600, maybe 550 to 600 pounds. I will recommend you buying this only if you are really sure about spending this money, and also I will recommend not to buy a new one. Although, well, of course it's depending on your budget, but if you are at the beginning like me a long time ago, I decided to buy a used one on eBay, and you can get a lot of nice deal online as long you check the background of the seller. You can easily buy for half price, and I will recommend you to at least try one of these and compare with other fountain pens that you have. And that's it. These are my 5 favorite fountain pens that I always bring with me when I'm drawing around. What do you guys think? And do you have your 5 favorite fountain pens list? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed the video, consider to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you will help me and support me as well by lighting that bell buttons and put some likes to my videos. And actually, this is probably the last video I'm gonna make before the end of the year, so I just wanted to share my best wishes for the upcoming holiday seasons. So Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone. And remember, always follow your passions and keep doing what you love. I will see you in the next video. Bye!